2023 incarnations of WWE's Men and Women's Royal Rumble match are drawing near, and as such speculation runs wild that which stars will again match up and set up the main event of WrestleMania 39 in LA. The favourites are naturally with Cody, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, maybe even The Rock, ranking at the top of this. But who are the dark horses? There are men and women who are making considerable contributions to WWE products on a weekly basis and would easily slide right into the major championship match, the biggest show of the year, and make sense in the role given their work and ongoing stories. Ahead of this year's monumental event and a kick-off to Triple H's first road to WrestleMania as head of creative, potentially all they can know these days, do you? We've picked out 5 contenders, 2 women and 3 men who could potentially shock the WWE versus the world and become number 1 contender for their respective divisions at the Royal Rumble. Starting off with Alexa Bliss. On the surface, Rhea Ripley, Becky Lynch or Charlotte Flair would appear to be the most likely to win the Royal Rumble and set up a match with Bianca Belair or Charlotte Flair if she wins it, set up a match with Bianca Belair. Alexa Bliss though is clearly heating up based on her recent creative and should be factored into the group of potential rumblers. Haunted by her past with Bray Wyatt and affected by her weekly interruptions, she has exhibited signs of the demented Bliss that became such an integral part of the former WWE Champion's act during his last run with the company. At the very least, it appears though Bliss is poised to be a major part of storylines going forward. She will likely factor in the second wave of Wyatt programming and maybe even find her way back to the side. Do not count out as far as potential Rumble winner goes. It's for no real reason that Bliss and Belair seem to be kicking on their rivalry. A scenario in which Bliss rebounds for a loss to win a Rumble and earn a second chance at WrestleMania is not out of the equation, especially if the new Bliss persona catches stream, which it certainly seems to be doing right now on Monday Night Raw. Moving on then to Seth Rollins. The fact that he's considered a dark horse to win the Royal Rumble is almost an indictment of his use over the past year. He's prominently featured and wrestled the top stars, but he has never been presented as the guy during that time. This could very well change into January at the Royal Rumble though, with no clear indication of a deal done with The Rock for a showdown with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania and any number of backups available to creative. Why not consider the visionary for the spot? Rollins has unfinished business with Reigns dating back to last year's Rumble when he expertly played mind games with the Tribal Chief, forcing him to snap and get himself disqualified. It remains the last TV loss Roman Reigns suffered. This story is already there. We all know about the history with the Shield and that Rollins affects the head of the table in ways no other star does. We also know he has a valuable win over Reigns. The minimal creative input that will go into a story like this and would have such a great impact on the fans just makes sense. The visionary last won the Royal Rumble in 2019 and may consider going to Rollins winning makes sense, sets up a hotly anticipated main event at WrestleMania. Book it. Moving on then to Asuka, and anyone who pays attention to Raw lately has recognised a certain change in the demeanour and appearance of Asuka. Tired of being the punching bag for the women's division, she has become far more aggressive, makes her face up less, and has reverted to spraying her colour mist at opponents more frequently. In her social media post harking back to her days as Kana in Japan, any indication it appears though as Asuka is in store for sizable changes in coming weeks and months. What better way to reintroduce her than new persona than having win the Rumble? Asuka is a heel chasing Belair for the title will not only create stories and intriguing match, but also plan on storylines already in place. We know Asuka is the one woman who has consistently come to the aid of BST, so imagine what it would be like if she turned heel. It could even play on the idea that Bliss played Belair and now Asuka too, proving that the title is never safe. Simply adding the face paint and turning Asuka heel will not help. She needs big changes, but a Royal Rumble, kind of first one to do it 2 times would have a big impact. Moving on into the men's and the Ricochet. How realistic is it? Of course not very, but he remains a dark horse candidate due to his recent booking. Triple H is clearly recognises the star he has in his hands, the one and only, far more than his predecessor ever did, and has worked diligently to reintroduce him as a genuine contender on Friday nights. Ricochet went toe-to-toe with Gunther and proved he could hang with the ring general with the IC Championship on the line. From here, he was awarded the spotlight on this year's Tribute to the Truth special, even winning for his team by a shooting star press. With former WWE champion partners Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. On the last SmackDown before Christmas, Ricochet was highlighted not only as scoring the pin for him and Braun Strowman, but also in a fun spot with Samantha Irvine. Ricochet has benefited from Triple H's control, and it would be nice to see an uber-talented individual get the reward he deserves. He may not win the whole thing, but don't be surprised if he's one of the final contenders this year and is one of the most battered about competitors in the match. Moving on then to our final candidate, Sami Zayn, he should win the Royal Rumble. He should face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. He should beat the Tribal Chief. He probably will not, with WWE officials hell-bent on delivering the Rock vs Reigns match that's been talked about for what feels like eternity. That doesn't mean that Zayn should not be considered a dark horse candidate to do so. Every once in a while, a superstar gets so hot that the fans will not want anyone else to succeed at their expense. They are beloved and incredibly popular to the point that any attempt to push anyone else is rejected by the audience. Look no further than 2014 with Batista and Daniel Bryan. The emotional connection fans have with Zayn right now could well force WWE's hand and make an unexpected route to the honorees winning the Royal Rumble and taking on Roman Reigns, and it would be glorious for no other reason than the fact that Zayn is manipulated by the head of the table and used to his benefit for so long. For the moment Sami stands up for himself, and it would be one of the loudest ovations in recent memory. Just imagine those scenes in LA if that indeed did happen. Incredible it would be. But anyway guys, that's it for today. Thanks very much for watching. To like, share, subscribe, and all sorts of stuff. And watch this show for daily wrestling news and subscribe to the channel. I'd greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.